Hello there, Michael McDonald again of the Gold Lotus Project, and we're standing here in one of Engage's immersive environments. Engage is a platform by Immersive VR Education, a company based out in Ireland, and they've got one of these amazing 3D environments for you to explore. So if you follow me, we can come up here and just get a better view of this beautiful scenery. Look at that. Now, as an English teacher myself, teaching people English is a foreign language, so a language that is not necessarily their native language, it's often difficult for me to try to get the students to elaborate on some of the topics that they're required to talk about. So, for example, if you're doing one of the English language examinations that often many people need to do, such as the First Certificate of English or the IELTS or the PET or the KET, for example, those are typical Cambridge examinations. Well, you will need to talk about typical topics in everyday life, for example, transport, hobbies, food, etc. And another one of those topics is travel and maybe pastimes, what you do in your free time as well. So it's really difficult sometimes to get students to conjure up, to bring out that key vocabulary and grammar that they really need to demonstrate that they understand, because it's assumed really that after a course, an English course, or studying a language for a certain period of time, that when you enter into the examination room, and in particular the speaking exam where you're asked to express yourself and bring out that passive vocabulary and demonstrate you understand how to construct correct English phrases, well, it's really important that you're able to develop those concepts a bit further, as opposed to simply saying, we went to the beach with my family, it was nice. It's really important to think about the context, the weather, the sounds, the smells, and the sights. So standing in one of these VR environments, for example, is a great way to work with your students to develop and stimulate that key vocabulary. And you can come here as many times as you want, any time of the day. The sun's always shining, even though it's a bit cloudy over there, potentially some rain clouds approaching on the horizon. But the point is, you can repetitively bring out that vocabulary and prepare them better for when they then enter the exam, because maybe they've had a much more vivid learning experience in a place like this. So if I were teaching a student right now, I would be saying, look at the waves. They are, and actually if you follow me now, we can go over there. The waves are rolling onto the shore or rolling into the shore, the ebb and the flow. So that movement backwards and forwards of the water. You could say that it is a rocky coastline. There we go, both flanking rocky coast or rocky cliffs, flanking both sides of this cove, for example. You could say about a grassy area which goes up in height towards the back, and it is a tree-lined cove as well, a tree-lined cove. You could say that the weather is pretty nice. It's pleasant, yeah. It's not too hot, even though the sun is shining very brightly, but there is some cloud cover. So this is all typical vocabulary that the student could use when they enter the examination. So they could use all of that wonderful vocabulary. You could also stimulate that grammar as well by getting them to talk about the conditionals, for example. So I had a lovely time at the cove or on the beach with my family last summer. However, if it had been less cloudy, I would have been warmer. So there's just another example of how you can integrate the grammar within these experiences as well. So that's it. That's just a quick taste of how you can use these immersive experiences to not just provide a context to the vocabulary which is being spoken about, as opposed to relying simply on memories, imagination, or textbooks in the class, but also to get them practicing that vocabulary and grammar in a repetitive fashion, so that by the time they arrive at the examination, they're going to be well versed in the correct language to use for that context. So there we go. We're going to finish that today, and I'll speak to you very soon for more tips and tricks on how to use these immersive experiences in your teaching of a foreign language. Thank you. Bye-bye.